All right, so how did people find out about the Native Americans? Well, these early explorers, right, wanted to travel to new places, right? And so, right here in our book, it talks about like you like to travel to new places, right? I know I like to travel to new places. And so, they were looking for new lands and discoveries to find. And it says explorers from Europe through thought traveling to Asia by water might take less time by traveling by land. So they used to start here and have to go all over the land, okay, and travel all the way over here, which is where Asia's at. Okay, and it would be all of this traveling on horses. They didn't have like trains and things like that back then. So they would have to take a boat or they'd have to go all the way south of Africa and then travel all the way over here. So they did not know that North America and South America existed. Okay, so they thought maybe if they went this way, they would eventually get to the other side of Asia. But were they able to do that? No, because North and South America were there. And so that's where they found those nations. It says a route is the course you take to get somewhere. So more than 500 years ago, in the 1480s, explorers from Portugal, which is right by Spain, which is what we read about with the Aztecs, right, in Mexico City, in our Scholastic magazine. It says Portugal, right? They were trying to look for a water route to Asia by sailing around Africa. So starting down here, you can see Portugal right here, right next to Spain. It says that in the 1490s, Spain was the first country to send explorers across the Atlantic Ocean. These explorers were looking not only for a way to travel to Asia by water, but also for spices and herbs needed for cooking and medicine. In addition, they helped to find gold, silk, and other riches. All right, so it says by the late 1490s, English explorers were also trying to find a water route to Asia. So now we have the Portuguese, we have the Spanish, and now we have the English, all trying to find a way to Asia, and now all finding this continent over here, and they're trying to get there. And so the English explorers wanted their own land in the Americas, so they went exploring there too. And then by the 1500s, France was also searching for a water route to Asia. During this time, they were able to search, and French explorers built settlements and traded with Native Americans, and now in Canada. So actually, to this day, there are some places in Canada where their language is French. Okay, just like down here in the Central and South America, they have a lot of Portuguese, like in Brazil, or Spanish. Okay, and then this is where the English landed a lot of here in the United States, which is why still to this day we have English. Okay, so that is a little bit about how these explorers are impacting our lives still today. Now, why were they trying to go there? It kind of explained a little bit of when they went and a little bit of why they were looking, but I want you to look a little bit closer. So we're going to look at a consensus map. Okay, so here it says Spain, France, and England. Now, normally we would do this as a group, and each person in your group would be in charge of a different piece. Okay, and there would be one person reading this, one person reading this, and one person reading this. But for our virtual lessons, we are going to have this is going to be an option. Okay, this is going to be an activity you can work on. And so it will be more like this. It'll be more of an independent activity. So I'm going to have you read about Spain, okay, and then write about some of the notes about what you learned, like why did they travel there. Then you're going to look at the French and you're going to write down why did the French travel to the Americas? What did you read about? Then you're going to find the English explorers and you're going to look why did they travel to the Americas? Okay, and you're going to then think what do all three of these have in common? And you're going to try to write something here in the middle to explain your thinking about, just like when I was looking up here at the Cherokee and the Iroquois, and I was able to look at both of these and come up, they worked hard, right? And they were spending a lot of time in nature because of all the rivers and the trees, right? I had to look for things that were similar to each other. That's what I want you to do here. How are the French, Spanish, and English, the reasons that they went, how are they in common? What did they have in common here? Then I want you to, on your own, think about, imagine if you were part of the groups of people you learned about today. Which group would you want to be a part of? Would you want to be part of the English, the Spanish, or the French? Okay, and then why would you choose to be part of that group? Okay, you could also even talk about the Iroquois or the Cherokee that I used in my model and you read about yesterday. And then make sure you explain why you would want to be part of them. And then reflect. How would our community be different if the explorers we learned about today didn't go and explore? What do you think that would be like for our world? How would that be different? Do you think people would find the Americas at some point? Do you think that things would look different in one place of the world or different? I don't know. What are your thoughts?